Good Tuesday afternoon. I am William Theo, and this is PTV News Now. Leading our stories this afternoon, the continuing standoff and unfolding drama in Davao City, where the men and women in uniform of the PNP are not the only ones on the receiving end of fiercely feisty Kingdom of Jesus Christ followers who have been blocking all efforts of law enforcement to serve an arrest warrant against embattled cult founder and most wanted personality Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy. Apparently, news teams of various media outlets are also in the crosshairs of these overzealous KOJC followers who have reportedly been keeping journalists from covering the standoff inside the pastor's compound. Among the news crews and correspondents blocked from documenting yesterday's ongoing developments include Minda News, Newsline Philippines, Philippine Daily Inquirer, and State Television News, also known as PTV News. News coverages of the events since yesterday have either been discouraged or disallowed by Quiboloy's fanatic believers who have screamed and yelled at camera teams they have been driving away, even reportedly hurling objects in the evening yesterday. As such, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, urges all media practitioners covering the event who have been subjected to verbal abuse and physical harm by the KOJC mob to file incident reports with their newsrooms or the local authorities so all those responsible can be held into account. Meanwhile, a little over 48 hours have passed since the boom and bang of deadly drone, air, and artillery strikes between Hezbollah fighters and the IDF over the weekend, and the quiet aftermath is uneasy, even nerve-wracking for Israel's living in the Holy Land. Such anxiety has grown ever since the cessation of armed hostilities over the weekend, as the United States issued a warning to Israel. The threat of a stepped-up attack is not unlikely from Iran and its allies fighting its proxy war against Israel, such as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and other extremist or terror groups. The first vow of revenge for the killing of a top military commander of the Iranian-backed group has been executed over the weekend, with Hezbollah's launch of at least 300 drone and rocket fire from within Lebanon. Iran's vow to avenge the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh has yet to be carried out. Amidst ongoing ceasefire talks between Hamas and Israel in Cairo, Egypt, U.S. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have promised to eke out a lasting truce that would end the war and deliver the safe release of around 100 hostages still in Hamas captivity, hopefully before the U.S. presidential elections in November. A huge demand for disposable electronic cigarettes, otherwise and more popularly known as vape, is steadily turning into the latest environmental scourge and headache of several countries. But as VOA's Aaron Rainan reports from New York City, a lone female crusader is stepping up her game to make a difference.
Here in the New York City borough of Brooklyn, Nora, who asked us not to use her last name for privacy reasons, is checking in on one of the many vape disposable boxes that she has placed in stores, smoke shops, and nightclubs.
We are going to Maison Jar, which is a refillery store in Brooklyn, and we are going to visit a vape recycling box, which is a drop-off box where people drop their used vapes, and they will be recycled as electronics.
Nora says she began these self-funded efforts because of all the discarded vapes she saw on the city streets.
What I do with the vapes, I take them to recycling for electronics. New York City has locations open 1 day a week in every borough where people can take their electronics.
Nora's initiative is a grassroots effort to combat the growing problem of vape pollution. However, the challenges are vast, as activists say.
We're throwing out 4.5 vapes per second in this country. The problem is that these vapes are made of different components, all of which are really hard to recycle or to deal with once they've been thrown out.
Many of these devices contain hazardous materials like lithium batteries and nicotine, which can cause significant environmental harm. A University of California, San Francisco professor who has studied this issue extensively explains the dangers.
Nicotine is fundamentally a neurotoxin. What that means is that it's toxic to neurological systems, including our brain and all of the nerves in our body. So when you have these kinds of devices that are tossed on the ground, and then there are rain events, the result is that the e-liquid with the nicotine and the other chemicals leaches out into water and starts to pollute the immediate surrounding environment.
Even the leading association of vape retailers has recently adopted a platform calling for banning the import of these single-use products.
Safala has several hundred members that are retailers, manufacturers in the vapor space. We recently polled them and took the position against disposable vapes for their impact on the environment. We believe that they are bad for the environment.
Myers claims her members are still selling these products out of business necessity.
Unfortunately, many of the members have been forced to remain viable, so they would prefer not to. But yes, they do sell them because if they don't, they will go out of business.
Several countries, including China, Iran, and the United Kingdom, are moving toward strict regulation of these products. While the U.S. still lags behind in regulation and recycling efforts, individuals like Nora are raising awareness, paving the way for stronger action to curb these devices in the future. Aaron Rainin, VOA News, New York City.
And that is the end of our program for this afternoon. Join us again later on the evening news break edition, and always remember to stay connected by keeping it here for news you can rely on. I am William Theo, and thank you for watching PTV News Now.